Welcome to Listen by Gene Ginsberg. This audio experience and podcast is all about social media, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, and interviews with top entrepreneurs in the digital and social space. I am your host, Gene Ginsberg, digital marketing expert, #1 best-selling author, and award-winning entrepreneur. I will be sharing with you strategies, tips, and tactics on how to grow your business and your social media following. Thanks for listening. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Listen by Gene Ginsberg. I'm very excited today. I have a very special guest, Lolita. And Lolita and I have been in touch for a little bit. We actually had this podcast scheduled a couple weeks ago, but now we're finally recording it. So I'm very excited. How's it going, Lolita?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you, Gene. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess first thing I'll start off with, before we were recording this podcast, right before off the air, we actually started talking about Gary Vaynerchuk because Lolita was asking me how long I've had the podcast, and I was like, oh, one of my first guests was actually Gary V, and we kind of got into that. But yeah, do you want to share your Gary V story with our audience?
Yeah, sure. So before I got into e-commerce agency, before I launched my e-commerce agency in 2018, I was the co-founder of a company called JetSmarter, and JetSmarter hired VaynerMedia, and I got to meet Gary. And they were our, agency of record, in 2018. So that was actually the last agency that we worked with. And, meeting Gary was a great experience, great inspiration. And actually, by having an experience as I was a chief operating officer at that time working with VaynerMedia, I started thinking, it's very interesting what they're doing for the, startups and mid-sized businesses, very interesting concept. And the idea was born that, I already knew that, my company is, exiting, that, Gary planted the seed in me to start an e-commerce agency, basically. So, yeah, that's
very cool.
Yeah.
So is your agency, the current company that you currently have, is that kind of similar to what Gary does?
Yes, it's very similar. Yeah, I would say, yes, for sure, that, VaynerMedia was an inspiration to us. We focus solely, though, on e-commerce, right? 90% of the businesses that we present e-commerce businesses, and Gary he takes, all types of the businesses. And we were, JetSmarter was a tech-enabled product. And so we, made really great creative concepts, and they were the media buying agency for us. So.
Awesome. So yeah, do you want to share a little bit more about your business with our audiences?
Yes, sure. So it's an e-commerce agency. We're right now one of the fastest growing, and we represent all sorts of businesses from startup to, good, big established, corporations. And, like Steve Madden, for example, is, one from our portfolio. And so we help businesses basically achieve their potential in e-commerce, because right now it's clearly one of the fastest growing, segments. And, we have our kind of proprietary holistic approach technique, how we take a business, we identify key metrics in the business, because in e-commerce is very, backend is very mathematical. You got to kind of understand, certain things that you need to hit in order for you to scale. So we figure that out, and we build them a customized strategy, and we scale them. So when we work with businesses, we take a pretty big scope when it comes to, strategy, media buying, creative, email marketing, SMS marketing. And we kind of find holes in their businesses, and we scale them pretty quickly.
Great. And would you say primarily you work with consumer brands, any type of specific consumer brands?
Yes, consumer brands, from different segments. We have fashion, we have technology, cosmetics, supplements.
Great.
So
that's fantastic.
As long as there is certain key metrics that the business has that we know that we can scale, then we take the challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm sure things have changed a lot since COVID started. I mean, it sounds like it's for the positive in your business, but yeah, tell me a little bit about the change for you guys and your clients. I mean, it sounds like e-commerce is growing, right?
Right. No, the COVID has been very generous to e-commerce. It's been very generous to us as well. Our business tripled in size in 2020, and actually the fashion segment was the first one that grew. just because obviously malls were closed, retail kind of was struggling, and all of these businesses ended up with an inventory, right? And no consumers walking into their stores, and how do they move it? So they kind of, they had to pivot into e-commerce. Otherwise, they would be, and these, I'm talking about big brands, right? They would be struggling and going out of business. So everybody started searching for actually e-commerce agencies. And given that, I've had already a pretty good case studies built with certain, activewear companies and other apparel companies. So kind of, they found us, and we were able to take them on and help them out, right? We already had a really good kind of technique of how to scale fashion apparel businesses. So it was good for them. And we have some really great case studies. We've taken a business that come from wholesale, that never even considered doing anything online, from zero in revenue. And we've scaled them to millions of dollars in 1 year, online sales.
Great. That's fantastic. So how would you, there's a lot of e-commerce agencies. So how would you say you're different, or what differentiates you from some of the other e-commerce agencies in the space?
That's a great question. I think that the number one thing that differentiates us is definitely our entrepreneurial spirit. I myself come from building a business. My husband and I launched it, and it became a pretty significant size company. And I've built it with my team, with my digital marketing team. That's right now, a lot of the key people that work with me, helping me build a business right now in my agency. So definitely the spirit of and the connection that we have with these companies, especially startups, that we've walked the journey of starting a business. I understand their pain points. I understand what they need to do. I know that they're very lean. They don't have a lot of budgets, and they really have a little bit of the budget, and you've got to really make something happen to start generating cash flow so they can reinvest. So I think that is not number one type of, main difference, to where we are very scrappy, but we're very entrepreneurial, and we'll hear their story, and we walk the path, and we can help them, get there faster. That's number one. And number two is, I think that it's our experience. We focus right now on e-commerce, and e-commerce is very kind of, scalable. Once you understand how the game is played, you play, you respect the rules, you innovate when it comes to creative on the ads, right? Which is always evolving. And you got to kind of react very quickly to ever-changing world of Facebook and Google, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Try to keep up with all the trends. So we're very kind of engaged and kind of scrappy, I would say. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I always say it's whatever Mark Zuckerberg has on his agenda for the day, and whatever he feels like doing, there's going to be changes in the Facebook algorithm, in the Facebook platform. So I can totally relate to that.
Especially what happened a week ago, right? This is when I realized that we're like under the mercy of Mark Zuckerberg, when their servers crashed and all of their products crashed, right? And we're one of the top media buyers on Facebook and Instagram, and we literally, all of our stores had no sales. We're like, right. Wow, what do we do, right? So that was quite a fun day.
Yep. Yeah, same thing with us. A lot of our clients are on Facebook and Instagram, and we had to experience that as well, both from an organic and a paid side. That was pretty crazy.
We have some clients that are internationally based, and you can't even share the news with them on WhatsApp. That's how we communicate, because
right.
As well.
That is true. That also
I am really reliant on this Facebook machine, right? I can't even communicate.
Isn't that how it always starts, right? Like it's small, and then we start relying more, and then it's like becomes huge, and then it crashes, and then we still have to continue relying. I mean, that's how Google was, right? Originally, Google was nothing, and now half of our lives are on Google, right?
Right.
The other half are on Facebook. So, awesome. Yeah. So tell me about what's in store for you guys. What's new? What's coming in the pipeline? What kind of changes are you experiencing?
I think that what's coming, we keep on diversifying our portfolio in terms of getting into all types of the different segments when it comes to e-commerce. I think that what we got our eye on for 2021 is, getting better with creative. I think that in e-commerce, what we do, creative, user-generated content, and who can produce better content wins in this game. because the traffic comes from, Facebook, TikTok right now, YouTube, and UGC type of the content is definitely what gets you the clicks today. And I believe that that's going to change, right? It's always, digital marketing changes, and we're probably going to move, into the same space of, branding matters. But right now it's all about the UGC, and it's creating the right content and how quickly can you turn it, right? How quickly can you turn it around for your brands? Because that's what delivers these results. So, keep getting stronger there.
Great. Awesome. I love hearing that. Yeah. Lots of changes going on. And then, yeah, I guess that brings me to one of my last questions is, what is your prediction for the industry? Like, we talked a little bit about what's happening for you guys in the near future, but what do you think is happening for the broader industry? That could be specifically e-commerce, or, pick a topic for the prediction of the industry.
Well, I think that COVID has accelerated the growth of e-commerce, right? The consumers, Amazon already changed the human behavior that when we don't go to the store getting our basic needs, house needs, right? Everything is ordered. With COVID, we started trusting, shopping online and buying things when it comes to, like not necessities, but fashion, and leisure. So I think it is, today one of the, fastest growing, and it's going to keep evolving. And lots of small businesses right now that Shopify is giving an opportunity to kind of, even I see a lot of small businesses as side hustles today, that this is their not, main income, but they're entrepreneurial. They know how to make product, and they sell online. So I think it's going to continue growing. What's going to happen is also it's going to continue getting more competitive and expensive. So when I speak to young startups and I can sense that they're entrepreneurial, my advice to them is that if you want to launch an online business today, like don't overthink it, because it keeps getting harder and harder, right? Like, because there's more plays that are getting to space, right? That digital marketing becomes more expensive. So cost to acquire customer grows, given that there is a lot more competition today. So it's kind of a race, whoever does it faster right now. So I think that it's going to continue to grow, but it's you have to, pay attention to the little things and continue to get better with product, right? Product matters. Like I always say that, listen, we're not gods, right? Even though we understand how this marketing world works in e-commerce, like we are at the mercy of your product. Like, don't go into the business with shitty product,
yes,
right?
Like, absolutely.
Invest in your product, do the research, understand, your competition, and, make sure that you have a quality product, and then kind of, dive in, find the right team, and, do it sooner or later, because it's not going to get any easier.
That's true. If your product isn't there and your clients, your customers just are giving you bad reviews, and there's no marketing in the world that could save that.
No.
But yeah, interesting point you mentioned about customer acquisition costs growing. That is true, but I also think it has to do with the platform, right? Like originally 20 years ago, when Google came out with their Google search, like you could, as Gary Vee always says, you can get the word wine for 5 cents. And obviously that grew and grew and grew because it became a lot more expensive. But it also depends on the platform, right? Like if you go to TikTok now, it's probably the cost per acquisition is a lot lower because it's a newer platform and their advertising's only been around for like a year. Their advertising platform.
And the same thing for Pinterest. We do media buying right now. Obviously, the main media buying platform is Facebook, and Google, and then we play around with TikTok, and Pinterest and TikTok is right now that where we put a lot of attention to. Much cheaper traffic, but I haven't seen it convert yet, right? Okay. I'd like to where, yes, you're getting much cheaper traffic, but the conversions is still not, like I wouldn't say that, like the platform is still so new. It's not as sophisticated in their AI. So, but you got to keep playing it and watching it.
Well, thanks so much for being here. This was a great conversation. My last question always is, how can our audiences get in touch with you?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you can go on our website, evestar.com, and schedule a conversation with one of the team members.
Awesome.
That's the fastest way. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. This is great. I really love, of course, I love talking about e-commerce and digital marketing. It's very near and dear to my heart too. So it was great to have another expert in the space. So thanks so much for being here and really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jean.